Justin, take us away.
Okay, congratulations on your win, by the way.
Thank you.
Baylor is on the heels of a bad loss to Texas State. How do you focus your team and not overlook them?
Yeah, good question. It was a disappointing loss for Baylor, I'm sure. We don't expect to see the same team on Saturday that we see on tape in that game. They'll fix things. They got they got good coaches, and they will get the ship corrected. And so we've got to play our best football to be able to go down there and have a chance to win. So good question. Okay, starting off from my perspective, good win from our program on Thursday night. Certainly played a lot better on defense than we did in the previous year. That was really the storyline of the game, is the way our defense played. We went from 280 plus yards rushing to 13 from last year to this year. 28 missed tackles to 4. I mean, it was just a night and day difference. And so that was the biggest difference in the football game. A good win for our program overall, as I mentioned. We got to move on now to Baylor, another Power 5 opponent on the road this week. And like I just said, we're very confident that they're going to be a much improved team, as most teams are between game 1 and 2. That's the old adage, is you make your most improvement between game 1 and 2. So, and they didn't play poorly, particularly on offense against Texas State. It was, in fact, they outgained them by 80 plus yards. They had over 500 yards of offense. The real difference in that game was red zone production. They only scored 2 touchdowns out of 5 trips to the red zone. Baylor did, and Texas State was 3 for 3. So that was, if you flip that, then the outcome is different. So that was the biggest key in that game last week. But again, we're going to have to play exceptionally well and have a great week of preparation, just like you have to every single week. And go there. It's an early kickoff. Got to handle that as well, and get our guys ready for that throughout the course of this week. We'll mimic that and get them up early and eat breakfast and all that type of thing. Pre-game meal will be about 7 a.m. our time on Saturday. So got to get that the psychological aspect of it, as well as the physiological aspect of it, as good as we can in the next 5 days. So questions?
Their quarterback has been ruled out of this game, their starter. How much, if any, does that change? What do you see from the team, especially with the backup?
Yeah, the backup came in and did some good things. Did sputter at times, like everybody does, but he's an athletic kid, and you're talking about the Mississippi State transfer kid, and so we'll just have to have a plan. I'm sure Coach Scally and the defense will have a good plan, and it all starts with being tough against the run. I don't care whether it's 1950, 1990, 2023. If you can't run the ball, it's hard to win. And so, conversely, if you can stop the run on defense, then it's hard to get beat. And so, that's always job one for us.
Kyle, you mentioned that the offense is going to need to be better over the course of the season to get to the goals that you want. After watching the tape, where do you see kind of maybe the most room for improvement?
We didn't run the ball as effectively as we needed to, or as efficiently as we needed to. We're typically a very good run team. We only ran for 105, I think, was the end result. Now, 15 or 20 of those yards were negative yards on the last couple plays. The take a knee and the quarterback roll out to eat up some clock. So it wasn't as bad as the stats indicated, but it still wasn't up to our standards. And so that is something that, if you look at the most disappointing takeaway from last week's game, for us, it was the lack of ability to get more production in the run game.
You said Cam was going to return to full practice
Uh-huh.
this week. Is the plan just kind of take it right to kick off like you did last week?
Yep, that'll be the plan. It's day by day, and we'll just see how he responds, how the injury responds, and because this is his first week of completely, no limits, and see what he can do, see how he moves around.
Will he travel regardless?
I'm sure he will. He's a captain, yeah. And so we, plus in the non-conference games, there's no travel restrictions. You can take whoever you want. So I would say I don't see any chance that he doesn't travel.
With the run game, what more can you do to maybe try to jumpstart that this week, or is there anything? Was it what Florida did? Is there something different?
They had good size up front. I mean, that one guy was ginormous. Then they had a couple other guys that were well into the 300s, and so they are a big physical front. And so a lot of it had to do with them. I don't want to say it was just our ineptness. Is that a word? Ineptitude, ineptness, whatever. We need Kurt Cragthorpe to correct all that stuff. But anyways, that was part of it. We can be better with our offensive line play. You know, not that we were poor. We didn't allow a sack, and we did some really good things up front. But we can be more physical in the run game than we were last week.
Kyle, your hands may be tied with scholarship limits, but is there any plans to put Bryson Barnes on scholarship?
Yeah, he is on scholarship.
Oh,
Yeah, he is on scholarship. Yeah.
You talked about how.
Good question. How'd you know that? Were you leading me on and baiting me? No? Okay.
You talked about how difficult it is for defense coordinators to prepare for both Nate and Bryson. I guess that works to your advantage that you have two totally different types of quarterbacks.
In a certain respect, you know, obviously we wish Cam was available and ready to go as well. I mean, that would be ideal, but you're right, to be able to have two guys that you have to prepare for and two guys that are so markedly different in their styles and what they bring to the table presents almost a two-plan situation for opposing D coordinator. So yeah, that is an advantage in that respect.
With Baylor now, not now, but next year becoming a conference opponent, do you use this game as maybe a preview to what the Big 12 life can be like, or kind of the preparation for that?
No, that hasn't even entered into my thought process, and hopefully not our guys. You know, it's just another game that we got to get ready for, and nothing really outside of that. Just get ready for the Baylor Bears, and irregardless of what. That's not even a word, is it? Regardless of what conference they're in. So.
If a player has a concussion, what's the protocol for him to return?
It's about a 3 or 4 step process. I couldn't tell you exactly. Generally speaking, symptoms have to clear. Once the symptoms clear, some aerobic workout, no return of the symptoms, and all things go. Then more of a weight lifting workout, maybe a little more taxing on the field stuff. If that clears, then a non-padded practice, and if that clears, then you're good to go. So generally speaking, that's pretty much the protocol.
So can that be done in a week?
Oh, absolutely. Yep, absolutely can be done in a week. Yeah, I think the return to play minimum would be, if the kid is completely symptom-free the next day, probably a 3 to 4 day turnaround if everything goes exactly perfect.
Quentin Jackson only had 5 carries, 15 yards. Is going to get him more involved?
We do, and he got kind of nicked up and wasn't, something that was bothering him in spring or in fall camp showed up again, and so he was. We planned on him being more involved, but he like I said, he got slowed down by an injury, and hopefully he's going to be available this week.
Do you expect to get more guys back this week, or are you kind of in the same spot?
We hope so. No guarantees, but we hope to get 1 or 2 of them back at least, and we'll just see how things go. Again, a lot of those guys are day to day, and that's as good as I can explain it right now.
Does having faced Jeff Grimes in the past with the offenses he's run help you prepare for this game?
It does, and we've certainly, we're looking at, previous stops that he's been and what he's done, and you cover all your bases, and he's a good football coach and has a certain style and likes to be physical and have a physical approach typically, although last week they threw for over 400 yards. To answer your question, we look at all the tape available.
Dave Johnson said he switched positions because of a conversation with you in the hallway, and you brought it up with him.
Who's that?
Teo Johnson.
Teo Johnson, yeah, okay.
And so I'm curious, he said he played quarterback his whole life, and so he moved to receiver coming here. You didn't move him to corner right away. What goes into that, and then what do you see at some point that makes you think moving to quarterback?
Yeah, we recruited him with receiver in mind. That was our first thought. He had been an offensive player pretty much all his life, so we thought, okay, that's, we didn't feel the skill set at quarterback was what was going to be his highest ceiling here. So we thought to put him at the receiver, put him there for a period of time, a good period of time. He was doing a good job there, but as you watch people move and just how they operate, you just kind of have a gut feeling that, hey, this guy probably will have a higher ceiling at a different spot, and that's exactly was my thought with Teo, and I think he played pretty darn good for his first outing. He's things he's got to clean up, but there's nothing scientific about it. It's just look at him as a receiver for X amount of days, and then could he be a better DB? We made that move, and he took to it just like that. So.
Been a lot of curiosity from fans this year about what some of the new additions
Yeah, Mikey Matthews did a good job. Had a few touches. I think he's going to be a really good player for us. Micah Pittman, he had the one drop on the ball that would have been at least a first down and maybe more. So I know he's disappointed about that. But we think those guys are definitely going to help us. Emery Simmons also is going to be in the mix, and right now, with the two quarterback system and things we're doing, I think you're going to see, when Cam does return, the wide receivers maybe take a more prominent role than what's going on right now.
How do you feel like your offensive line did, maybe especially on the left side with Spencer Fano?
I thought he did a great job. For a true freshman playing left tackle against University of Florida in game one. I mean, that's baptism by fire, and I thought that he held up extremely well. Tanoa Tongiai played a handful of snaps in relief. Spencer relieved him a couple times, but Spencer, for all intent and purposes, played the vast majority of the game and graded out very well and held his own. Now, we did help him with the running back at times. We chipped with the running back to give him some assistance, but when you look at what he did as a true freshman against a quality opponent, you got to be very pleased with what he did.
When you look around the Pac-12, 13-0, and there were some monstrous scores that were put up, are you looking forward to seeing what your defense can do?
Yeah, big challenge. I mean, this is the league of the quarterback, and we've got half a dozen really good ones, at least. I mean, it's looks like the Pac-12 is going to go out with a bang. I mean, they've got a lot of prolific offenses in place, and that'll be a big challenge for our defense week in and week out.
Maybe weird to ask you again about the punter, but just the game that Jack Ballister had seemed like it was really huge in terms of flipping the field as often as he did. I think he pinned him inside the 20 3 times. Can you just speak to the importance of him having, the punter having as good a game as he did?
Yeah, he had an exceptional game, best game by far of his career. Actually pinned him 4 times. The one didn't count because of duplicate number, which was, a good learning experience for us. Not that we were unaware of that, but that's, that was a devastating penalty. But Jack flipped the field 2 or 3 times and really showed a lot of poise, and he has become a really quality punter. I mean, everything about him, his mechanics, his get-off times, he's just doing everything real well right now. We hope that continues throughout the rest of the season. And he has a really good knack and feel for those what we call sky territory punts, where he kicks them up and we try to pin him inside the 10. So,
is it just an experience thing with him and having another year under his belt, because he looks like a completely different punter this year?
I think it's all my coaching. No, it's exactly that. He's feeling more confident. He works at his craft. He works hard. He worked hard, exceptionally hard all summer long, and he is very dedicated to what he's doing and very conscientious and very committed. And you saw the fruits of his labors in that first game, and we hope it continues, like I said.
Coach, you ended the game with 5 sacks, and your defensive end group was really, played a big role in that number for Jonah and Logan. What do you think of your group's pass rush?
Started off on a good note. 5 sacks in a game is outstanding, and you really, arguably our best pass rusher, Connor O'Toole. When we get him back in whenever that may be, that's going to add to what we're doing there. But between Jonah and Logan and Van Fillinger, they played the vast majority of the snaps. They did a great job of getting pressure on the quarterback, and if we can get Junior Tafuna back, that gives us even more push inside to not allow the quarterback a place to step up into the pocket. So it all works hand in hand. But for the first game, particularly Logan Fano, a freshman, played really good football.
The NFL starts this week, and there's 24 former Utes in the league. How, on Sundays, do you watch those guys? Do you ever have contact with those guys during the season? And how important are they to your program?
Oh, they're huge to our program, and we try to keep as much contact as we can, mainly by text during the season, texting back and forth. But we are proud of those guys. They're all great ambassadors for us, and it's important for us to foster those relationships and keep them going. And they want to continue to be a part of it, which I've said many times before, we've had some really experienced coaches come through here that have made the statements that, hey, nowhere they've been have they felt the connection to former players wanting to stay connected and give back and be a part of what you're doing. So apparently they've had a good experience while they were here and want to stay a part of the program. So very important to the program.
Did you get to interact with Alex Smith while he was here?
I did not. But we interact quite a bit, and so, he's kind of like that. He'll just show up and blow in with, no announcement. He's very low key in that respect. But my grandson got a picture with him and an autograph on his football. He had to have he brings his football cards with him everywhere he goes. He had an Alex Smith, so Alex signed it for him. So he was fired up about that.
Back to the punting for just a second. When the league has this many good quarterbacks and is this explosive, does field position matter less?
It's a good question. I'd say it's more game to game. And last year we didn't punt much at all. I think we had 40 punts or thereabouts in the whole season, it was like 3 or less a game. And so the better the offense is, the less punting is involved. That's for certain. But there's still a big value on it, particularly when you can pin an opponent inside the 10 or even inside the 5. So I wouldn't say that it's never going to be unimportant, but certainly with the offenses that we have in this league, it may not be as important as if you're in a defensive struggle, every single week.
I asked you before week 1 about the new running clock rule and how
Mhm.
much that might affect it. Is there a recalibrated look at it? It seems like it's changing games, the pace of games a little bit more than folks expected.
I think it is, but it seemed like there was more commercials, like I said, after the game. And maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like every other, couple minutes there was a commercial break. But player safety. It's a player safety issue. Why would we be the longest game at any level? Why? Why is that necessary? And so I think we still are, but we're more in line with what the NFL is, and so I see it as a positive and less wear and tear on your players, particularly with the expanded playoffs coming up next year, and guys may play in 16 games or whatever the case may be, and so or 14. I can't tell you exactly, but it's something that I happen to personally agree with, and I think it was a good move. But we'll see if it sticks. I guess it's in its experimental stage.
Following up on
Final
that,
question.
does it put a great emphasis on execution because you have limited?
It does. It's cut down essentially one possession a game. I think is going to be when all is said and done. It's last year I think it was 12.2 possessions a game average, and I think in the first part of the season we're like at 11.3. So it will make each possession 10% more valuable, and so it's going to make, to your point, execution will become even more of a premium because you just don't have as many opportunities. Is that it? Pull the plug? Okay. Plug pulled. Thanks, guys.